right off the bat, we've got to get the obvious out of the way. Did you read any of the books before or after taking the role of Kip?
I'm starting to read them after. I did not read any beforehand because I think it was important because I think Francois kind of touched on this in a previous interview, but and I've always kind of felt this way about some stuff is that unless I'm doing like, for example, if I was in like Dune or something like that, and like I knew we were about to do like three movies and like 7 or 8 hours worth of like specific character like structure and whatever, I would read it. But I think because Kip and Scott's storyline is so like condensed into that one episode, I figured it would be too much to try to like. I feel like every second I'd be trying to do like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink to like previous context or like be like, like remember this, whatever, and like this part of the book. So I was just like, let's just read the episode the way it's written, have obviously a general understanding of the characters and all the context there. Um, but then just play the chemistry between, I really between Francois and I in the writing because that's clearly like with casting and with Jacob and everything that was what sold the deal. So I just wanted to be true to that.
I love that. Have you read it? Have you read Game Changer yet?
I have read Game Changer.
Kip is such a beloved character. What has fan reception been like, especially since episode 3, or I like to call Skip-isode, came out?
Mhm. It's been great. It's been truly overwhelming, and I think I could imagine maybe it's different for Hudson and Connor. Like their reception is like their flavor of reception is probably maybe different than Skip's reception. Um, I think I've gotten a lot of really endearing messages and people who are like really coming from like a personal, like this is something I struggle with right now in my life, or at one point like my partner and I were in the scenario, and it's so nice to see like this be shown on television. I think mixed in there, there's like a decent amount of like, oh, you're like there's like kind of thirsty comments as I'm sure the other guys are getting too, but it's really been like the comments that I've gotten that are really moving, and I've sent a bunch to like my mom some of the DMs of people just being like really touched by the storyline. And it's been overwhelming, honestly. Like it's a weird thing going from like playing characters that not really many people get to see to then playing a character that seems to like is now being viewed all over the world and like feeling like you're connected to such an emotional degree with all these people. It's very, I don't know, it's a weird thing to put into words. I haven't really processed it at all, obviously, by my rambling. So, it's been interesting to see that some people are so not happy that that episode steered away from the main plot line. So that was honestly interesting to read because I was like, hell yeah to Connor and Hudson because so many people are so like die hard. I need these two people injected in my veins right away. And like, how dare you take this time away from them? So like, honestly, I'm hyped about both reactions because it's great for those guys and great for that storyline and great for the success of the show. But then it's also nice that, there's people who are happy to see Scott and Kip.
Kip is the only out character of the 4 leads. Was this something that informed your portrayal of him?
I think honestly, no. I think that I think it informed the dialogue and the connection that I had with Scott or Francois. I think that's the only thing that changed. I think because Kip's character is so, and I've kind of touched on this in other interviews, but I keep going back to this, in that Kip's character's world and friends and social circle and like community is so well grounded that I think that Kip is just he's just like living life as himself. Like, right? Like I don't feel like there's a world in which he wakes up every day and thinks about that. I think he's just so well surrounded by people and his peers that like I think when Scott comes in, my focus is like so aware of, when we start to have a connection and then we start to, kind of have this dynamic and where he invites me to the hockey game and like all of this stuff. I think I'm so much more aware of his world and how my world is so different than that. And I think that's ultimately what, where we kind of do a bit of this. I think when, when we have disagreements or when the conflict begins in our storyline. Um, but I think no, I think when I was playing Kip and when I read through it, um, I think I was just trying to channel somebody who was authentically them and happy to be here. And, I thought of people who support me in my life, and obviously having Matt Gordon's portrayal of my dad, like I think that if anybody spoke to me like that day in and day out, I would feel very empowered and feel like I can just be who I am. And so I think I just kind of went on not even thinking about it personally.
There are so many iconic moments included in the skip episode. What's been your favorite scene to film?
Um, my favorite scene to film, I loved all my scenes with Matt. All of my scenes with Kip's dad is great, even though there's really only kind of like the two of us watching hockey and then me coming down like frantically looking for my black suit. That stuff was just so fun. Um, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It just felt so good to film those scenes. Um, I love that stuff. I loved all the stuff at the Kingfisher with all my friends. I loved all that. Like that is just such a fun thing to film because it's like bantery and like you're just kind of bouncing off of each other and like, it's kind of a fast-paced montage type stuff. Um, and then all of the stuff with like Francois and Scott in like his penthouse was a lot of fun too. Like that was just kind of like a bougie day. That was fun. That day when we were filming to go onto like the penthouse floor and to be filming all this stuff in this suite and everything. I was like, this is so cool. Like this is so fun that I get to be in here and play around and get paid to act and be with fun people. So I think that all was I gave you multiple answers there, but that's my answer.
If you could play any other character on Heated Rivalry, who would it be and why? Any of them.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I originally auditioned for Scott Hunter. That was my original audition for the series. I auditioned, I had a mullet, I had a shitty mustache, and I read for Scott Hunter. And I think Jenny and Castaigne and Jacob were both like, yeah, let's see it for Kip. Um, so I think between the three of them, I mean, I think I've always loved Scott Hunter's character. Um, I like Hayden too. I think that's a great character. Um, yeah, I'd say Hayden or like honestly like any of the hockey bros on the team. Like even if I was hockey bro 7, like I think I would love to be a part of that kind of like, that type of dynamic and just be in those scenes and have that type of fun. So I would say that.
That
I think I would do
actually,
a disservice to any other role. So I would say hockey bro 7.
fair enough. That actually leads me into my next question, which is, did you grow up playing hockey at all? And how does
I
it
did
feel to be,
not.
but how does it feel to be the only non-hockey character amongst the core four? Do you feel left out?
No, because that's been my whole life, actually, funny enough. I play competitive sports. Like I grew up playing competitive football and now I play rugby, not competitively, but I still play. And like and like played baseball and a bunch of other sports and did gymnastics and all that other stuff. So sports has always been like a major part of my life. But it's funny because I've never played hockey. And obviously as like a Canadian from Toronto, like all of my buddies, all my best friends, they all played hockey, even if they were crap at it, they still played. And I never did. So I feel great because it's like, I don't know. I don't need those skills. I don't have those skills anyway. But I was really, the shooting didn't line up, but I was trying to get to, because they were doing like skating coaching and like hockey coaching to, for all the scenes on the ice and stuff. And I didn't have my skates in town. Otherwise, I was going to go because I was like, I need these lessons as much as you guys do, just on a personal level. So it felt fitting.
Right, right, of course.
Yeah.
Of all the characters we see, Kip is so real and relatable for all of us normies. How did you approach playing him? Was there anything you did to root him in reality?
Honestly, I think compared to the other characters in this storyline, they're all just so I didn't really have to do too much to root him in reality because I think that the other characters are obviously all major league hockey professionals. And like they're the top 0.3% of population that makes it to like a crazy elite level in sports as well as like, publicity and all this other stuff and wealth and like whatever. So I think the characters alone, the way that they're written, is already creates this unrelatability and like hyper, whatever raised stakes. So I think when you see Kip, who works like probably a minimum wage job at a smoothie store, as like most people do, as I've done for different parts of my life as well, I think if I think immediately people are like, oh, this is like a normal, regular human who's not like at an elite level status. Um, and then outside of that, I think I hope I played it in a relatable way, like, but I think, yeah, kind of outside of that, I think I just really tried to be as normal as possible and tried to be like as new to this whole bougie world that Scott Hunter brings. And it was helpful that that was also kind of new to me. Like, as I previously mentioned, like going to the penthouse floor at the Park Hyatt, like I was like, this is crazy. And so when I'm filming the scene, all I got to do is walk back in and be like, yeah, I can't believe I'm here, because I feel like that would be Kip's reaction or any normal person's reaction, right? So, um, yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, like I said, the character differences already adds to that, and then just being excited for this, the whole world that we're setting this in is exciting to me personally. So just bringing that.
Scott and Kip play such a pivotal role in how the story of Heated Rivalry plays out. Going into this project, did you know about Kip's overarching significance, and what were the conversations like around the conclusion of Scott and Kip's storyline?
I'm definitely going to ask you to repeat that question. Did I know the
Yes.
significance of it? Yes, I did know the significance of it because I was curious when reading the episodes. I was like, what's the deal? Like, I obviously at that point I hadn't read the books, and I think that we talked a lot about with Francois as well as Jacob, and we were talking about like, why is this story important? I think that's a fair question when you have one, two, and then boom, here's this other couple, whatever. For reading it from an outsider as who has not followed the books. But then we got into it more, and obviously I had more context with the storyline, and then Jacob gave me more context as like the interpersonal storyline of like this is essentially gives Ilya and and I said Hudson, Ilya and Shane the go ahead to, or like gives them the little nudge to continue their storyline. Um, yeah, so I think I had an understanding there, but on the other side of that, I haven't seen I haven't seen five. I haven't seen six. So I don't really know. Like I know what happens, but I haven't really seen like the true unveiling as to how meaningful it is to their storyline. So I'm excited to see the true impact of that along with everyone else, when episode five comes out. Not saying that I have anything to do in episode five, but some things might change in episode five. I
Listen,
don't know. Good.
listen,
Who
this is
knows?
coming out not in the next week, probably. So I think you can say something.
Okay, well, I think we rock them to their socks, and I think things change. So I'm pumped for that. We do leave Scott and Kip on a high, but I would hope that that storyline's not concluded, because I do think that there's a lot more, and I know that there's obviously more after this kiss that does happen, not with regards to in the show. Um, but Francois and I have chatted many times about this and talking about like what would if we if Scott and Kip's storyline continued into season two, what would be included and all this stuff. And I think there's a lot of stuff that's in the books, but then also not in the books that would be very interesting of to explore.
In the show, we see Kip give Scott his new good luck charm, the Blue Moon over Brooklyn smoothie with extra banana, and then later the blue banana socks. Do you have any good luck charms or superstitions?
Hmm. Um, no. I know.
Right.
Shitty answer. But I don't. I really don't. I would be lying if I said I had anything like that. I mean, there's t-shirts that I've worn for auditions that I've like booked. Like statistically, I wore a certain shirt and I was like, oh my God, I booked this role in this shirt. It must be the shirt. So but then I quickly found out by not booking the next 20 roles I auditioned for that's not the shirt. So that quickly went out the window. Um, and then superstitions. I have like routines, I would say, like things that I like to do that I think like help mentally, maybe. But I'm a pretty logical dude in the sense that I'm like, I don't know, man. I think that anything is just like being prepared and then hoping that you get lucky, I guess. But it's not
Period.
like not clothing. Maybe I should. Honestly, maybe I should. I know my mom ordered me the socks for Christmas. So maybe I'll start wearing those and see if that's my good luck charm.
We do need to address the elephant in the room. Why were the smoothies so watery? What the hell were they made out of?
That's funny. It's funny that people are talking about that because when my roommates both watched it the first time, they're like, "You make shit ass smoothies. Like you're garbage at your job. Thank God you met the
Yeah,
hockey player because you suck."
yeah.
They were like pre-mixed juices. Like
Mm,
if we had real smoothies, the amount of times that we had to do those takes, if we had real smoothies, they would look like roadkill by the end. Like it would all look nasty. So we had like,
yeah.
pre-bottled, pre-mixed juices.
They weren't even filled to the
But,
top, man.
I appreciate everyone's attention to detail.
All right. Well, what's your go-to smoothie
I got to
recipe?
keep the boy coming back somehow. What's my smoothie recipe?
Yeah.
Happy you asked. It is, I actually have been making a lot of smoothies recently at my home. I've never had a blender before, and then we got one recently. So that's
I'm
been
really happy for
exciting.
you.
Um, Thank you. It's the little things in my life that are fantastic, like the blender. Um, but we're returning it because anyway, without going down that rabbit hole. I would say frozen fruit, frozen wild blueberries, frozen bananas, like a little bit of both, and then 0% like high protein milk or whatever. Tell me when you get bored of this question. 0% high protein milk, 2 scoops of vanilla whey protein powder, and then maybe a drizzle of honey if I'm feeling it. Um, that's pretty good.
I
And I
mean, so
make some
basically,
like a
it's the
lot. I already
proper, it's the proper Blue Moon over Brooklyn. That's what I'm hearing.
It really is, which is very funny. I realized that after I watched the episode, I was like, shit, this is it. And I always make too much because I suck at the measurements. And then so I pour a bunch into little cups for my roommates and like deliver them like Smeagol up to their room and then
Yeah,
recluse back to do the dishes.
amazing. The soundtrack for the show has been kind of life-changing. Do you have a song that you think is perfect for Scott and
Hmm.
Kip? Hmm.
Oh, for Scott and Kip.
We can also do just for Kip.
Oh, that's
I
a good
want
one.
both.
I like Scott and Kip. I mean, there's so many, ups and downs. I don't know if I'm trying to include that, but um, um, uh, I think one that's coming to mind, but again, it's just like I think it's maybe topical or like trending right now because it's the holidays, and I just watched The Holiday. But I would say the song "You Send Me" by Aretha Franklin, like her cover of that, it's in The Holiday, but it just feels like that kind of like, once Scott's character comes out and we're like, I don't know. I can picture myself like grilling a steak and like an apron, and we have a glass of wine and like do a nice little dance. So I would say that.
Right, right.
Truthfully, though, it sounds
Okay.
romantic, and I think it'd be nice.
My last question for you. Would
Got
you
it.
believe in anything?
What?
Would you believe in anything? You're not a real skip
Off.
head.
Okay, let's
You're
just
not a
take
real
it back a
skip
little.
head.
Let's take it back a little bit.
Boo!
Wow, you're
Not a
really
real
gonna
skip
you're really
head.
gonna snake me like that, eh?
Yeah. How do
Damn,
you?
man.
Damn. Have you at least
Yes,
listened to the song?
No. You're gonna not air any of this interview. I know. You're gonna be like, fuck this guy.
No, I'm putting you on blast.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's you can put me on blast. You haven't even watched The Holiday. I'm putting you on blast for that.
Oh, whatever. I think
Come on.
Skip's more important than the holiday, but that's just
That's
me. That's
okay.
just
Is
me.
that can you at least educate me while also putting me on blast?
Oh my God. The song I'll Believe in Anything is the song that plays when Scott and Kip first meet in the beginning montage. And then episode
Okay.
5 is titled I'll Believe in Anything.
Okay, well, I haven't stared at, again, I haven't seen episode 5, so I don't know the
There's
title
six
name. I haven't
episodes,
memorized the
dude.
title name.
I could.
I haven't seen 2.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You're asking me to make a connection about 2 things I haven't seen.
Okay, but
I have not seen them.
it's like about your character directly. It's fine. It's
Okay,
fine. It's a great
we're searching
song.
this
Listen to it
song.
later.
No, no, give me a second.
All right.
This is the one. You may not be able to hear it.
I can't hear it at all. Let me see.
Yeah, oh yeah. Cute. Yeah.
You know it?
No, it's the ma ba ma 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 ma. Like that's the
Right.
song, right? That's the
Right.
beginning.
Right.
It's a great song. It's a great song. I didn't know that was the name, truthfully.
Yeah, well, answer the question. Would you believe in anything?
Yes. Honestly, before I would have said no, and the fact that this show has become as big as it has, like the reception of everything, and the fact that you and I are having this conversation now, I would have never guessed this was a thing back even 2 months ago. So, 100% yes.
Amazing. Yeah.